Hello all, I'm Meera Elizabeth James. Today we are learning Fine Tune Your English Chapter 2 Phrases. What are they? In order to understand phrases, we should be knowing the differences between phrases and clauses. Phrases and clauses are group of words. They are units of meaning. But in phrase, there is no subject verb combination. But in clauses, there is subject verb combination. That means we can identify a subject part and a verb part in a clause, while in a phrase, there is no such subject and verb combination. And in the case of phrases, there is no meaning for the group of words if it is used alone. It gets a meaning only when it is attached to other group of a sentence, other words of a sentence. And in the case of clauses also, it is not having independent meaning, but there are a kind of clauses called independent clauses, and it is having meaning when it is independent. And most of the phrases are non-finite. That means they are having a verb form that is not having any specific person, number, or tense. For example, non-finite verbs are is, are, etc. And finite forms of verbs are be, being, been, etc. So in phrases, we could find mostly the finite forms of verb. Now, the different types of phrases. The major types of phrases are noun phrase, verb phrase, adjective phrase, adverb phrase, prepositional phrase. And in your chapter, three more types of phrases are also described, like participle phrase, absolute phrase, and verbless phrase. These phrases could be explained with simple examples. What is a noun phrase? I have given an example there. A woman in the window shouted for help. In that sentence, the underlined part, a woman in the window, is the noun phrase. In a noun phrase, the important part is a noun. In that group of words, woman is the subject and the noun part of that group of words, and so it is a noun phrase. A woman in the window shouted for help, and we can find that there is no verb in that noun phrase. Second type, verb phrase. She has finished her work. The underlined two words, that is has finished, is the verb phrase in that sentence. Number 3, adjective phrase. I am very happy with his work. Very happy is the adjective phrase in that sentence. Adverb phrase. They ran really fast. Adverb is something which qualifies a verb, an adjective, or an adverb. There, really fast qualifies the verb ran. They ran really fast. So, really fast is the adverb in that adverbial phrase in that sentence. Prepositional phrase. He is sleeping on the carpet. A prepositional phrase begins with the preposition on the carpet. And it is also an adverbial phrase of place because it qualifies the verb sleeping. Where is he sleeping? He is sleeping on the carpet. And it is at the same time a prepositional phrase also. The other three types of phrases are participle phrase, absolute phrase, and verbless phrase. What is a participle or participial phrase? It contains a participle plus other words. So a participial phrase contain a participle plus one or two other words. And what are participles? There are two types of participles in English. One is the present participle or the ing participle, and the second one is past participle or ed participle. I have given an example. The present participle form of the verb sit is sitting, and the past participle form of sit is sat. Example of participle phrases: sitting in the shade of a tree. Together, that group of words, sitting in the shade of a tree, is a phrase. There should be something following this group of words. Only then it becomes a complete sentence. This is a phrase. Sitting in the shade of a tree is a phrase. So there, sitting is the present participle, and altogether this group of words is a participle phrase. And this is an example for ed participle or past participle. Scrolled on the placard near him. Scrolled on the placard near him. This is an example from your textbook. Scrolled on the placard near him were the words, I am blind, give me something. So this is an ed participle, a past participle, a participle phrase. So a participle phrase could be an adjective phrase, an adverb phrase, or a noun phrase. So it begins with a participle. That's all. Now, what is an absolute phrase? This is something slightly different from other types of phrases. I'll tell you with an example. The sun climbing to the zenith, the day grew rather hot. In the beginning, I told you, in a phrase there is no subject verb combination. But looking at this phrase, this is a phrase, at the first look, we may confuse it as having a subject, that is the sun, and a verb part, climbing to the zenith. So the sentence, this phrase is having a subject, the sun, but a partial predicate. It is not a complete predicate. If it is a complete predicate, it should be having a complete verb, but it is just a participle, a present participle form of climb. The sun is climbing. If this was having is or was, it could be considered as a predicate. But here there is no auxiliary verb here, no finite verb here. So this is just a partial predicate, climbing to the zenith. Absolute phrases modifies a sentence and are set apart by a comma. There is a comma, and the function of an absolute phrase is to modify a sentence. So an absolute phrase is a phrase that looks like having a subject and a predicate, but it is not having a complete verb in it. And the final type of phrases is a verbless phrase. A phrase that contains no element of a verb is a verbless phrase. A phrase that contains no element of a verb is a verbless phrase. Example, when young, Blunt the donkey was a champion. So there, when young is the phrase in that sentence. When young is the phrase in that sentence. And this phrase is a verbless phrase. There also, a verbless phrase could be an adjective phrase or an adverb phrase. So, a verbless phrase. Now we will go in detail to the 5 basic types of phrases. Noun phrases. Noun phrases are group of words in which there is a noun and modifiers, words which modify the noun. And it is a group of words that function like a noun. Together, these group of words function like a noun in that sentence. Example, the spotted puppy is up for adoption. In that sentence, the spotted puppy is the noun phrase. The spotted puppy is the noun phrase in that sentence. There, puppy is the noun, spotted is the modifier. The spotted puppy is up for adoption. At the zoo, I saw a striped zebra. Zebra is the noun and striped is the modifier there. So, a striped zebra is the noun phrase in that sentence. She kindly offered water to the gardener working in the hot sun. The gardener is the noun there, and working in the hot sun gives additional information or modify the noun gardener. The gardener working in the hot sun. Here are the examples from the text. Examples for noun phrases from the text. I am tired of being treated like this. Being treated like this. I am busy writing a novel. I am busy writing a novel. I am surprised at fools flourishing like that. A mother selling her own child is unbelievable. So, in your text, some longer noun phrases are given for examples. So, if it finds difficult for you, you follow the examples I have given in the earlier slide. So these are all noun phrases in which a single noun is given prominence with added modifiers or words which describe or give additional information about the noun. Now, adverb or adverbial phrases. An adverb phrase is a phrase that modifies a verb, an adjective, or an adverb. Like an adverb phrase tells how, when, where, or to what degree. So that is the function of an adverbial phrase. An adverbial phrase tells us how, when, where, or to what degree. An adverb phrase can come anywhere in a sentence. Now, adverb phrases examples from the text. Whatever your problem, it has a solution. The weather having improved, we resumed the game. While praying to God, this is the italicized portion, is the adverb phrase in that sentence. While praying to God, do not mention your personal needs. All these examples are having different functions and different types of adverbial phrases are used there. You just remember the functions of an adverbial phrase. It modifies a verb, an adjective, or an adverb. And an adverb phrase tells how, when, where, or to what degree. And then comes adjectival or adjective phrases. It is a group of words comprising an adjective. Gives more information about a noun or a pronoun. The function of an adjective phrase is to give more information about a noun or a pronoun. Here I have given some examples for adjective phrases. The adjective a golden ring, which is a noun phrase also, can be made into an adjective phrase like this: a ring made of gold. A populous city is made into an adjective phrase: a city having a large number of inhabitants. A religious man, a man of religious nature. So we have extended the phrase by adding prepositions and other modifiers. Now we have come to the end of the chapter. Exercises. Exercise number 1. Dash, she prayed fervently to her favorite god. Fill in the gap with an ing phrase. Ing phrase means present participle. Participial phrase. So I have given an answer here. So you use your imagination, find out your own answers. You can fill in with anything of your imagination. The only thing is grammar should be correct. Sitting peacefully in a temple. Sitting peacefully in a temple. She prayed fervently to her favorite god. So I have filled in the gap with an ing phrase. Sitting peacefully in a temple. So pay attention that in a phrase there is no complete verb. To make this a complete verb, there should be is, am, was, were, any auxiliary verb and a subject here. But there is no subject and helping verb here. But it just start with sitting peacefully in a temple. So this is a phrase. Dash, he forgot himself and shouted at the manager. Fill in with the past participle. Again, ed participle. Carried away by emotion. He forgot himself and shouted at the manager. Question number 3. The sun was setting in the west when the birds returned to their nest. Make it a simple sentence using an absolute phrase. Hope you remember what is an absolute phrase, which is having a subject and a partial predicate but not having a complete verb in it. So the answer is the sun having set, the birds return to their nest. So the sun having set is the absolute phrase there. The sun is the subject, having set is the partial predicate. No complete verb in it. Number 4. Dash, the man sat in the shade of a tree. Dash. Make it a simple sentence using a phrase. So before doing this exercise, we should know what is a simple sentence. In a simple sentence, there should be only one complete verb in it. So this is a long sentence, but we could retain it as a simple sentence. So while adding the beginning and end of the sentence or adding phrases at the beginning and at the end, we should not use a complete verb in it, or we should take precautions not to make our addition into a clause. When we add a complete verb in it, it becomes a clause. So I have added while reading a book. While reading, there is a verbal element but it is not complete. In order to become a complete verb, it should be having an auxiliary to support the main verb. So it is this is an incomplete verb. While reading a book, the man sat in the shade of a tree, ignorant about the surrounding. Again, ignorant about the surrounding, there is no verbal element. So the only complete verb in this sentence is sat. Number 5. She did not attend the lecture because she was ill. Make it a simple sentence using a phrase. Again, the same type of question. We should retain the only verb in it, which is the verb in the sentence. Sorry, this is not a simple sentence. This is a complex sentence because we have two verbs in it. Did not attend and he was ill. So we have to remove one verb from it in order to make it a simple sentence. For that, we have to introduce a phrase into it. So we have introduced a phrase into it, being ill. So we made this clause, she was ill, into a phrase, being ill. Being ill, she did not attend the lecture. So we have made this into a simple sentence having only one complete verb, that is did not attend. Number 6. Though he was ill, he refused to take rest. Make it a simple sentence using a phrase instead. Again, same question. Though he was ill, he refused to take rest. This is a complex sentence. This is a clause and this is also a clause. This is an independent clause and this is an independent clause. He was ill, was and refused. So we have to make any part of the sentence into a phrase to make it into a simple sentence. So we have made the first part or the first clause into a phrase. Though he was ill is being changed into in spite of his illness, he refused to take rest. In spite of his illness, he refused to take rest. Number 7. When he was young, he was a good looking chap. Make it a simple sentence using a verbless phrase. We have learned what is a verbless phrase. So, very simple. When he was young is a clause because we have a complete verb in it, was, and we are removing the verb, simply removing the verb, and we made the sentence into a phrase, a clause into a phrase. When young, he was a good looking chap. We can change it into a simple sentence in other ways also, like as a young chap, he was good looking. He was a good looking chap in his youth. So, in those two examples, we have changed the sentence pattern also. So, this is the most easiest way of changing this sentence into a simple sentence. So, I hope you understood what is a phrase. So, phrases are different. There are different types of phrases, and the important point to remember is that there are phrases with verbs and without verbs. Verbless phrases are there. But a phrase will not be having a complete verb in it. There will be verbal particles like participle verbs like ing and ed forms of verbs. But there is no complete verb in a phrase. If there is a complete verb in a group of words, it is not a phrase but it is a clause. So, hope you understood well. Thank you.